Today I'm back with my most anticipated set of 2023, and that is the Batman Ultimate Movie Collection by McFarlane Toys. The box looks simple but sleek, and then on the back we get this nice cool backdrop with a bat signal that looks very similar to the Keaton signal, which unfortunately we don't get with this set. We get the Kilmer one, but it's not the end of the world. And then we do see the cards that come with this set, including the Batman logo from each of the movies that these figures are based on. And then upon opening it, you do see all the cool figures inside, including the bat signal. And this looks really nice. I love this display. It's almost a shame to open this up. I might just buy a second one just to keep like this. But this is a review channel, and it would be a sin not to open these figures up and play with them, which is what I'm going to do. So let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and open this up and take a closer look at Batman. Starting this review off with the accessories, each figure comes with their own card with a nice image of that version of Batman. Let's get this nice, I want to say silver, maybe, or maybe it's platinum. I think platinum would make more sense considering McFarlane does platinum editions. Either way, we get this nice border. Usually they're white with other cards, but this one is platinum, or maybe it's silver, Each image looks fantastic, and then on the back they have a data file specific to each Batman from that movie. We also get 6 figure stands that we have seen many times before with the DC logo. And then the other accessory that this set comes with is a bat signal, which is probably one of the best accessories that you can get with a Batman collection. The base of the bat signal looks really nice. It has this gray with a lot of dry brushing, or it could be gunmetal. I'm not the best when it comes to colors. Little gargoyles here on the side look really nice. I like the sculpting there. And then the signal itself is sculpted really well. I like how this looks. Good paint detail. Looks nice and dirty. The bat signal here looks nice for the most part. I'm not sure why this is very jagged looking. The Dark Knight logo did not look like that. I'm pretty sure that's not how the logo looked in the film. Maybe I could be wrong, or maybe I'm remembering it incorrectly. But I do have the Movie Master version right here to compare it with. So yeah, that logo looks a lot cleaner and slicker like how I remember it. So I'm not sure why this one looks like that. The curves are not smooth. It's a little bit odd, but it's not the end of the world. The signal on the Movie Masters, though, is really big actually. This one is not. It's a little bit smaller. But the paint detail on here looks nice. Actually, the Movie Master one looks really good too. Almost forgot how great this bat signal looked, but we're not here to look at this one. Let's go ahead and plug this in. Alright, that was pretty simple. Let's see, can it move up and down? Is it articulated? Yep. That is pretty good. So here's a side-by-side comparison of the McFarlane bat signal and the Movie Master one. So as far as a Dark Knight bat signal, I like the Movie Master's one better. But considering this one has multiple different lenses, I'm not going to lose sleep over it being a little bit smaller. So let's look at those lenses here. This is the Schumacher version, not the Keaton one. That Keaton one looked different, so it kind of sucks that we don't get that version of the bat signal. We also get the Batfleck version from the DCEU, so that is nice and fat. And then of course the Batman one from the Matt Reeves movie. So taking this cover off shouldn't be difficult, so that way we can replace the lens, switch them out for the different version. Let's see how best to get this off without breaking it. Alright, I see. So there's a little bit of a open groove right here, so that way you can take that off. Go ahead and place this one in. That looks really nice. Let's put that cover on. That looks pretty cool. Here is the Batfleck one, and here's the Robert Pattinson signal. So these look really cool. Nice display here, especially when you want to pose your figures. But is it functional? Yes, it does have a light. So let's go ahead and turn off these lights and check that out. Alright, it is dark. I have my side lights on right here. I'll turn it off in just a second. Let's go ahead and move this signal. There is a button here on the back. It's actually not a button, it's a switch. It's kind of hard to see that in the dark, but it is right here. Alright, let's go ahead and turn off those other lights. Now it is almost completely dark. There you go. That is the light. Kind of hard to see the signal. Go ahead and move it a little bit closer. Yeah, it's right there. Not exactly a strong light. Let's go ahead and move that up. Yeah, can't really see the symbol there. So that is the Robert Pattinson Matt Reeves signal. So let's go ahead and turn off that light, switch it out for a different one. Alright, here we got the Batfleck one in the signal. Let's see how that looks. Actually move the camera back a little. Yeah, can't really see that too well. Let's move the signal a little bit closer. Yeah, not exactly the best light. It's kind of disappointing. Let's look up there. Yeah, kind of disappointed with the strength of this light. You can't really see the signal too well. Alright, and here is the Dark Knight bat signal. Let's turn that on. And yeah, you can barely see that, just like with the other ones. Let's move it closer. Let's see a little bit better. Let's move it up. Yeah, quite disappointing. Actually, let's try the Movie Master bat signal. Here I have it. Let's go ahead and turn this one off. Let's see how that looks. Oh yeah, that looks much better. Look at that. You see how clear that bat signal is? Let's move that up. Oh, it's as far as it goes up. That kind of sucks. Yeah, that is what this bat signal should have been. Let's turn on the McFarlane one. Yeah, quite disappointing. I mean, it looks good for a display piece, but seeing that the light is so weak, yeah, this is what I was hoping for. This is the Movie Masters done by Mattel. Ah, McFarlane, this is kind of disappointing. Let's look at that light. See, it looks good here. Would make for a good photo, just not a good light. Anyways, let's turn that off. Let's go ahead and switch it to the Schumacher symbol. To actually get a look at the light from the front. Yeah, see, that looks cool. Again, would look good as a display, especially having Batman next to it, but shining the light on a wall, yeah, not that great. Actually, let's put a figure in front, see how that looks. Yeah, not much of a difference, doesn't look any better, so hate to say that I'm disappointed in this because I had high hopes for this bat signal, but yeah, looking at the Movie Masters right next to it, seeing that much brighter light, this is a bit of a letdown. Alright, so that was it for the accessories. These figures do not come with any interchangeable hands, which is pretty disappointing. Hopefully we can get some single release versions with interchangeable hands. But moving things along, let's go ahead and look at the Batman. So we're going to look at these figures in order of movie release. So first up is Michael Keaton Batman, and I'm going to try not to take too much time with this one because I did review the gold label. So if you want to see a more in-depth review on that figure, check out my review on the gold label Batman and Batmobile. But if you didn't see the review, here are my quick thoughts on this Michael Keaton Batman. The head sculpt I think is fine, doesn't have the best likeness as far as the face and the cowl goes, because of the sculpting of the cowl looks inaccurate, but I think the face is good enough, especially since this is a $20 figure. I'm not going to complain too much. I think it looks close enough to Keaton. It resembles Keaton. I like it. I know there are some people online complaining about it, saying that it didn't look like Keaton. I don't know what to tell you. I think it has a good likeness. That's my opinion. But also, you gotta kind of have your expectations realistic. It's kind of like comparing the Marvel Legends Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and the SH Figuarts. Of course, the Figuarts is going to look better in almost every case because that is a higher end figure. The Marvel Legends version should be a $20 figure, but it's usually $25, $30, so it's typically not going to look as good. Same thing in the case of a $20 Keaton figure. It's not going to look as good as a $100 Keaton figure, but for the price point, I think it's good. The sculpting on the cowl looks nice. The eyes and the lips and the mouth are painted well. Really, the only complaint that I have is with the way the sculpting of the mask is on the neck. I should say the head is on the neck. That should have been more streamlined. I have seen some people comment on my video saying that having the articulation here at the base of the neck would have been better. And yeah, I think that would have looked nicer. But this, I have no problem with it. I like having the articulation. It's just, it should have been a little bit more streamlined here in the separation of the head and the neck. But this figure is pretty much exactly the same as the gold label version that I have right here. The difference that we see is with the symbol. The gold label has a gold oval, whereas the regular release, or I should say the 6-pack release, has a yellow oval, just like the movie. The rest of the body I think is fine. I think it looks close enough to the 89 suit. Not 100% accurate, but it is pretty close. There are some details that are missing, like on the arms and on the back right here. But to me, that's not really that big of a deal. The gauntlet looks good. The belt looks good. I think it should have been a little bit bit more yellow. Perhaps maybe not the exact same color as the oval, because apparently the belt is not the exact same color as the yellow on the actual suit. But I think this is too gold. And then we get some nice legs here. Again, not 100% accurate to the suit, but it looks good enough. Again, for a $20 figure, not much I can complain with. The main selling point here is that we get a 7-inch Keaton Batman with some really good articulation, so I'm happy with that. Here's a look at the boots. The shin piece right here on the boot looks nice. And then I did this on my gold label review. I'm going to do it here again because I've seen a lot of people pose this Batman with the cape like this. You're actually supposed to tuck it and bring it underneath these fins right here. And there you go. You can then adjust the cape as so that way it's draped forward as it's supposed to be. So yeah, kind of a little OCD of mine because I've seen a lot of people not correct that cape. It would have been better if we didn't have to, but in case you didn't know, now you know. Next up is Val Kilmer in the Sonar suit, which looks fantastic. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Looking at the head sculpt, I think it has a pretty good likeness to Val Kilmer and the mask of the Sonar suit. Again, not 100%, but it is really close. Again, $20 figure, so my expectation isn't going to be extremely high. It's not like a Mezco or a Mafex. One of those figures, I would expect those to look closer to 100%. This one, though, is pretty close in my opinion. I love how this looks. Now, there is a little bit of marbling effect on the mask, which is kind of annoying, but doesn't ruin the figure for me. The eyes are painted well, so are the lips. I love the sculpting on the side of the cowl. That looks really good. Ears are sculpted nicely. I like that. Now, this head sculpt does suffer the same issue with the Keaton Batman, where it does not look flush and streamlined, so you do have this prominent jawline on the mask. Kind of looks more like a Dark Knight cowl where it separates right here, but it's not supposed to, so that sucks. But aside from that, I'm really happy with how this looks. The sculpting on the Batsuit looks really nice. Now, I don't have anything to compare it with because we don't get Val Kilmer Batman figures very often. In fact, the last time we got one that's in 6-inch, 7-inch scale was from Mattel back when I think it was called the DC Signature series from the Multiverse line. That was the Panther suit. And even then, that figure wasn't really that great. But this one is pretty solid. I'm going to assume it's not 100% accurate, but from what I see, it looks good. It looks like how I remember that suit looking. Sculpt work here on the torso looks good. A big, giant bat emblem, which looks really nice. No oval around it. Just big and black. Well, it's not black. It's more of a bluish silver. Got the gauntlets here. The fins that are all merged together. They're not separated like Keaton's suit. You get the bat button back here. Joel Schumacher would be proud. Sculpt on the belt looks really nice. It's got a different color from the suit. Then a gold bat logo right here. Sculpting on the legs, so it's not just a smooth piece like Keaton's legs. This one has that same sculpt work that the upper body has. So really nice, good looking boots right there. So that is really cool. And then he does feature a soft goods cape, which I greatly appreciate that he has. I'd much rather have a soft goods cape versus a plastic cape. It is not an accurate cape. It should be the same color as the suit. Instead we get a black cloth, which all the Batman figures in the set have a black cloth, regardless if that's how the actual cape looks in that movie. So yeah, that kind of sucks, but it's not going to bother me. I really like how this looks. It's nice to have a Val Kilmer Batman. As a kid, I really loved Batman Forever, so to have something as articulated like this just really brings back memories from being a child, loving that movie, watching the VHS so much, so really loving how this Batman turned out. And now moving over to a Batman that's not really loved as much is the Clooney Batman, and this is a figure that I never really desired, never really thought I would have, never thought I'd care about, but now that I have it, I'm really liking it. The head sculpt looks fine. It's not the best in the likeness to Clooney. I think it looks fine for what it is. If someone just showed me this figure and never told me that a Clooney figure was being released by McFarlane, I would assume that that's Clooney. It could have been better, but I'm still pretty satisfied with what I see. The paint on the eyes look good. Same thing with the lips. The sculpting on the cowl looks fine. I think the ears look okay, not 100% accurate. I do believe the ears look slightly different on the actual cowl. Again, has that same issue here that the other Batman figures have. You could definitely see that from the side view, but from the front, it doesn't look too bad. It looks more streamlined than Kilmer and the Keaton Batman, so can't really complain too much there. Looking at the Batsuit, I kinda like this. Yes, it's notorious for having the nipples, which the nipples are certainly there. They are sculpted, but I think in toy form this looks pretty good, and it looks pretty accurate to what I can remember. Again, I'm pretty sure there are some inaccuracies here and there. I'm not going to nitpick it. I think it looks close enough to the suit. The only thing that I do see that they could have made more accurate is the color. Don't believe the suit in the movie was black. It was like a dark blue, almost close to how the sonar suit looks. But from what we get here, I like it. I think it looks fine. Now that this is getting a single-carded release, I believe later this year, so maybe that version's going to have the accurate color on the suit, but this one's pretty nice. We get a black Batman symbol right here with a oval, but it's not yellow. Doesn't have any color, it's all black. The sculpting on the muscles look really good. Sculpting on the belt, the crotch piece, and the bat butt. The gauntlet looks good, gloves look good. I like the fins right here, that looks nice. All the arms aren't too bulky, they're not too massive, which is fine because all the actors that played Batman in these early movies were not super muscular. So I do like the body choices that we see. The legs look nice, boots look good, nice bat symbol right here. So again, really happy with how this turned out. Looking at these three newer figures is making me really satisfied with the set. But so far, these three early Batmans all look great. Now let's go ahead and look at the re-released figures. So starting the re-released figures off with Christian Bale. This figure is pretty much the same as the first released one, with just some minor differences. Now the head sculpt looks the same, it looks good, can't really complain. The paint is a little bit different than the first release. I kind of prefer the paint on the mouth here than on the new one, but it's not a big deal. The eyes look pretty good. And speaking of pretty good, the suit looks nice, it looks accurate. I'm not too crazy about the gray all over the suit. I think this could have been darker, but that was an issue with the original release as well. But aside from that, everything is pretty much the same. However, they did add silver to the knuckles right here on the gloves, whereas on the original, does not have that. But aside from that, if you have the original, you know what to expect with this. Solid figure, looks nice, great sculpting. And then the obvious difference, the biggest one, the most noticeable one, is that he has a soft goods cape. Not accurate to how the cape looks in the film. It does not have these scallops, it's just a straight cape that goes down. The scallops don't appear unless he is gliding through the air, but I don't mind this sculpting right here. It looks fine. I'm just glad that we do have a soft goods cape. And the other thing that they did fix is the issue with the biceps. The original one, the biceps were frozen on pretty much all the Batman figures. That is not an issue right here, so that is good. Next up is Ben Affleck with the tactical suit from Justice League. Now, I do have the original version, I just never opened it, so mine is still in its box. Now, that one I believe had the goggles on the head, whereas this one does not, which I'm pretty happy with. I prefer it without the goggles. I think the likeness looks pretty good to Ben Affleck. Much better and closer than Flash Ben Affleck figure that we got. That was terrible. This one looks pretty good. Again, $20 figure. Can't complain too much. If I want something that looks a lot better, then I need to go get the Mezco or the Mafex one. And I want to make it very clear, I'm not saying all this to be a McFarlane apologist and to defend McFarlane. I'm just saying that with $20, I don't expect it to be something that's going to rival a high-end figure. I'm going to expect it to be something solid for the price point, which I think all these Batmans are. And speaking of solid, this suit is beefy, thick, and solid. I like the details all throughout the torso. This giant fat bat right here. The silver is going down where the abs should be, where the abs are. Silver on the arms, silver on the gauntlet looks really nice. Great sculpt work all around, nice legs here. You can get some textures in the legs, so that looks nice. Some good looking boots. And of course he's got a soft goods cape, which the original does not have. So I'm glad I never opened my original one, now I have this one. This is a very good looking figure. And finally, finishing off the Batman figures, we get the most recent live action one, that is Robert Pattinson. And right off the bat, I want to say that I am glad McFarlane Toys fixed the issues with the eyes. For whatever reason, he went through this phase where several waves of DC figures were all looking off to the side, including the Matt Reeves Batman figure, and that just looked so stupid. This one is not looking off to the side, although I don't know if mine is painted a little bit off because he's not looking directly straight. But he's not looking off to the side like the original one. Yeah, that one's clearly looking off to his left side, whereas the new one isn't looking directly straight, but he's not looking too far off to the right. So maybe it's just mine. Either way, it is painted better. The cowl looks nice, the mask looks good, so I'm happy with that. And then the body is pretty much exactly the same as the original release. I don't really see anything that's majorly different other than the painting. This one appears to have silver brushing throughout the body, whereas the original one did not have that. So pretty satisfied with how this looks. I think it looks like an improvement overall than the original one. And that's mainly due to the painting of the eyes right here. And plus he does have a soft goods cape. Now you did notice that mine has a custom cape, which looks better than this one. So what I might end up doing is just swapping the heads. But if yours does not have a custom cape, I think this one is pretty solid for what it is. And if you just tuck the cape back, it'll look really nice. So each of the figures feature the same point of articulation. The head's on a ball joint, so it allows it to go up and down, side to side, and tilt. Shoulder goes that high up, rotates all the way around. There is a butterfly joint, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, a swivel, and a hinge at the wrist. Ball joints at the torso, so he crunches that far forward, goes that far back, twists slightly, pivots, legs go that far out, that high up. Inner thigh rotation that is very stiff, double jointed knees. Ankle goes that high up, that far down, can rotate, ankle pivot, and toe articulation. Here is the Michael Keaton Batman next to the gold label Batman. Here he is next to the NECA Batman. And here he is next to the Mattel Danny DeVito Penguin, which doesn't look too bad next to him. Here is the McFarlane Toys Val Kilmer Batman in the Sonar suit next to the Mattel Batman in the Panther suit with crappy ankles apparently. And then here is Keaton, Kilmer, and Clooney Batman next to the Mattel Alfred. Here is the Christian Bale Batman next to the first release Dark Knight Batman. And then as I said, I have not opened up my Ben Affleck Batman, and I think I'm going to keep him in his box. So here is the Robert Pattinson Batman next to the original release with a custom cape. Alright, if you can't already tell, I love this set. I'm extremely happy with how it turned out, especially for the price point. The original price was $120. In this set, you're getting each figure $20 a piece, plus a bat signal. I think you get a great value with a great set of figures. I think objectively, all these figures are solid. They're really good. Me personally, I would say they're great. Now in my gold label review, I noticed that there were a couple people that were complaining about the Keaton Batman, saying that it wasn't good. One person even called it trash. I don't understand why you would think the Keaton Batman is trash. For it being at a $20 price point, I think it delivers. It's solid. McFarlane was asking like $40 for that Keaton, then yeah, I would say that's not worth it. That it's not good for that price. But look, if this is something that you're not going to be satisfied with because of the inaccuracies with the figures, which I believe they're minor, they're not that huge, they're not that big, then save your money, get the NECA Batman. That thing is pretty good. I think it stood the test of time. Or spend the money on the men's coat. That one, yes, it has its issues, but it is really accurate to how it's supposed to look. But for the price point, I can't really complain. Really, the only nitpicks that I have is that I'm not too crazy about the ankles. These figures were kind of hard to stand without having them slanted or wobbly. It's kind of hard to just stand them straight up because of the ankles, but I think that's more of a McFarlane issue. And then the bat signal, I was pretty disappointed with the fact that the light was not that great. It was pretty weak, especially comparing that with the Movie Masters bat signal that is over 10 years old, and that light was really good, really strong. Aside from that, this is a great set. The only thing that I would say that would complete this set, that would make it even better, is to include an Adam West figure. Thankfully, I still have my NECA one, so that kind of stands well with these. But aside from that, if you are a big fan of the Batman movies, then this is a must-have for a Batman collector. Never did I think we would get a Val Kilmer Batman in 6 or 7 inch scale. Same thing with George Clooney, and those two figures look great. But I'm really loving the Sonar suit here. That just looks fantastic. Aside from the Keaton, I think the Val Kilmer one is my favorite from the set. So again, if you're a fan of these movies, absolutely pick them up if you can. If you only care about just one Batman in your collection, a comic book Batman, then this is something that you could save your money on. But for fans of the movies, I say get this. And also hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to see more McFarlane toy reviews, click on the card at the end of the video, and I'll see you next time.